Well, Dave, yeah.
No, it's fine. We'll get over.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. As you know, we've been in executive session. It wasn't quite an hour because I thought the meeting was at Sugar Valley, not Hidden Valley, so delayed things for a little bit, so I apologize for that. But anyway, we got through most of the questions. Would you please rise and join me in the flag salute, followed by the pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we just come to you tonight. We thank you for everyone that's here. We thank you for their safe trip. We pray for their safe trip home. Pray for those that weren't here with us tonight. We ask for your guidance throughout the whole meeting from everyone in attendance, and just we make the right decisions to make this association thrive. We ask for your guidance at all times. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Before we get started into the meeting, I want to address everybody. Hope everybody had fun last month. We're not going to do a show like that today. I was deeply embarrassed. The association was embarrassed, and if you wasn't, you should have been the ones that participated in that. From now on, if you're not in good standing, don't even attempt to speak. It's not going to happen. If you do disrupt the meeting, you'll be asked to leave. If you look at the agenda, open forum is now moved to the end of the meeting. Reason for that, if you want to start arguing, start yelling, start talking out of turn, start trying to talk over somebody else, disrupt the meeting in any form, we will adjourn the meeting. So that's where we're at, as long as I'm here. So without any further ado, the board had a chance to look over the minutes from the previous meeting. Take a motion to approve them.
Make a motion to accept the minutes and the financial information checks. I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Financial report.
Okay, you're going to see something different starting this month. In the past, you've seen the actual this year compared to the budget. The budget was for the total year. The actual was for the month or the year to date up to that point. So it wasn't a good comparison as far as what was going on. So now you're going to see the actual last year compared to the actual this year. That's what you see in front of you right now. And pretty obvious, but I'll just go through quickly. For instance, in the snack bar, we have a loss. Actually, I'll go to the back page. We have a loss for the year. We thought we'd lose $770. We're down $132,700. And that's primarily from the areas of the snack bar, losing almost $40,000. The tank pumping, we're down about, or excuse me, we're up on tank pumping as far as income is concerned. The golf course, we're about $55,000 down. And then you get to the second page, the assessments were area, the other area, we're up about $23,000. The administrative, we managed to spend about $51,000 less than we budgeted than last year. Security, we're a little over, we're a little under on that one. We're about $1,600 better there. The bathhouse, we're about $4,500 better than we were last year. The pool, we're about $4,700 negative on that. The general maintenance, we managed to spend about $4,000 less than we did last year. Codes enforcement, that's $1,800. Miscellaneous, we're about $5,000 over on that one. And then, as I said earlier, we're about $132,700 less than we thought we would be. So that's the financial report.
Any questions? Tracy?
Okay, so we still have been receiving several payments for the 2023 assessments. Just wanted to make another reminder that those are due by March 1st. Also wanted to remind everybody to vote for the open board position. The ballot went out in the newsletter. If you're not attending the annual meeting, we'll need your ballot turned into the office no later than January 27th by 5:30. If you're attending the meeting, you may drop the ballot in the ballot box prior to the meeting, and the ballots must be signed to be considered ballots. I also brought a ballot box and some ballots over here. If you want to vote tonight, you can fill that out and drop it in. Later in the meeting, we will have some of the candidates speaking.
Tracy, can I just mention, I have heard some confusion about the voting. You vote one vote per lot that you own. If there's two people in the residence, it's still just one vote per lot. It's not one vote per person who owns multiple lots. I've heard some people say they own multiple lots and they've been voting one vote. Now, we look at that, we look for that in the office, so we try to catch those, but just to let you know that I'd heard something about that, I wanted to remind you.
Okay, at Sugar Valley Clubhouse, we had been using Brightspeed for the phone service. And due to the cost of service and the number of outages, plus the length of the outages when it was out, I started calling around and getting some quotes for some different services for our landlines. We have switched to US Cellular using their home business-based phone plans. And that switch is actually saving us $473.71 a month for a total saving of $5,684.52 a year. So we have made that switch. And then we have still been working with Touch Bistro on the new point-of-sale system. We're gonna go live next week at Sugar Valley. And then I'll be coming over the following week to help Sharon here, and we'll go live with the system here at Hidden Valley. And then I also just wanted to make note that Monday, the snack bar over at Sugar Valley is gonna close at 1, and the office will close at 2. Evergy is changing out our power pole, and we're gonna be out of power starting at 2 o'clock for up to 4 hours. So we'll just be closed down. And that is all I have.
Steve?
All right. I had a member approach me this week. The bus stops at both lakes are kind of in disrepair. They've been talking to some groups. I believe the VFW maybe, I'm not sure who all.
American Legion, we talked to American Legion because we talked about
American
it this week.
Legion,
Yep.
okay. Several people, but there's a STARS program that these kids are in, taking some college type courses that are more in the line of, whatever, trade school. They're wanting to talk to them about getting them some kind of work and stuff to do for their schooling. So we can get them, the way I understood her, it would cost nothing. And with getting sponsors and people to help with whatever materials and everything, we might get our bus stops all cleaned up and accessible for kids. They're even talking about putting up some kind of we won't have to run electricity to them. They're talking about putting in solar. So we'll have some lights, maybe even some heat down there. So I'm anxious. I told her, I said, just keep me abreast of what's going on. We would love to see that. So that's positive news coming. Did talk to the guy again this week on the old pump truck. What they are waiting on, he had to send off to St. Louis, and he called it a instrument cluster, which is basically just the harness that goes down the steering column. It's been cut and spliced and different colored wires and everything to where they had to get completely new rebuilt. And that's what's taking so long on that. I asked him if he had a time frame. He said he doesn't have a clue, but he said they did have the truck up and running before they sent that off. The truck runs strong. He said, when we get this back, he said, I'm sure that's all it's gonna be. He said, just hang on with me. So hopefully we'll have that pump truck back to service soon to where on heavy days, we can run 2 of them or whatever we have to do. We have a backup. Just want to let you know, we are getting ready to head over here to Hidden Valley. We've been laying down rock like crazy at Sugar Valley. We've had the blade out, we've had the bobcat out, we've been opening up culverts, both places. The guys have been trimming brush along the edge of roads. Both places, they've been putting up stop signs and stuff. So we are, I hope you all are seeing that, because it's coming. We're about to come over here.
Any time frame on that?
Probably in about a week. In about a week, we should be headed this way. I did buy this week a set of grader tires, because we've been going and getting the county's old ones and putting on whenever we needed them, and there's no tread whatsoever on them. It's kind of unreal. We got some blims out of Tire Town in Kansas City, $350 a tire, and those tires go for $600 to $1,500 a tire. So we did good there. I've got to call Terry Johnston or David Gill and get them to get them mounted, but right now it's not really the time as long as it's running. I have been pricing tires for over here, because as I understand the tractor, the John Deere's needing tires to stay on the dam. It's not got enough traction, so I have been pricing them. It looks like we're gonna be looking at $600 or $700 per tire, with about $170 to $200 in shipping to get them here. But one way or the other, if that's what it costs, that's what it costs. Tire Town told me within a couple weeks they may have a set, so I'm kind of waiting to see if they do, because it'll be a lot cheaper, but they will be coming. That's about all I've got.
Where are you at on the windows over here?
The windows over here, I need you.
Shannon, I talked to Shannon earlier today. What'd you come up with on that, Shannon?
I'm sorry they're not done. I've been busy. I'll get right on them next couple of weeks.
They're still biting?
Extremely.
I do have,
What about, go ahead.
I do have this that I found online that looks like it will work for these 2 doors, as long as those doors are 1 3/4 inches thick. That's what this is for. That's the only one I've found online like that. It uses tempered glass, but these 2 are the same width. I need to get an exact width of the hole opening, but they're the same width, but one of them is 1 inch longer than the other one. And they don't come in a standard size for that, so you have to get a special cut. So I've got to be exact.
He'll take care of it.
Okay,
Get with Shannon after the meeting.
I will.
What
Thank you.
about, haven't heard anything for a long time about landscaping around the pool.
Talked to Josh Baldwin last week, and he was gonna come in my office last Monday. I ended up having to take my wife to the doctor last Monday. I wasn't there, but he never showed up and still hasn't been there. What he's gonna do is come in and go ahead, because he's not been able to get with those other guys, with Corey and Cody, to find out what they're wanting to do. So he's gonna go ahead and bring it into my office, the pricing on what they were talking about, and that will let us either go ahead with it. I can talk to Cody and Corey myself, say, what would you guys like to pay for? Because otherwise the ball's just still rolling. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
So he's gonna bring that into
Any
my
other
office.
questions for the manager?
How's the kitchen progress?
Kitchen project, Tom Garrison was there this week. He's the man that put the new box in with the switches to make everything work right for the suppression system and keep the fan on if there's a fire and turn everything else off. Because the electrician was there earlier in the week and put electricity to that, but he has to come back, now that Tom's got those switches in, he has to come back and get the electricity up to the 2 units at the top, which is the fan and the fresh air unit. And then Tom Garrison will be here immediately to finish it out. So the kitchen is very close to
So who
being-
does the inspection on it so that we can actually use it?
That will have to be Keller Fire. They're the ones that have the suppression system, basically. Once all this is hooked up, they come in, they check it out, and they give us the okay.
Okay.
How we doing on the greens on the golf course?
Greens, as looking at them myself and looking at them with Brad, they're looking good. Brad expects a full recovery by spring.
Okay, board position candidates, I know we have one here for sure. 2, did I miss somebody? Okay. Do you guys want to stand up and talk a little bit? You have some time here if you'd like to. Yay, nay? Introduce yourself and a little history.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? My name is Russell Bray. I live over on the Silver Valley, Sugar Valley side. Excuse me, I've been saying Silver Valley. I don't know why I've been saying Silver Valley. The Sugar Valley side. We just moved over there not too long ago, and just getting our RV over to the property and got our property cleaned up. But I've been to a few board meetings now. Myself and my wife Susie, we've been to a couple board meetings, and we noticed that there was a position that came available for the board. And my understanding was that the community at large were looking at new opportunities to represent them on the board. So my name may not be on the official ballot, but I am on as a write-in. If you would like to write me in as a candidate. If you choose not to write me in, that's fine. My biggest thing is to make sure you go out and vote. Because this is your opportunity to vote how you want your council representatives to represent you as members. I will tell you that a little bit about myself. I did 13 years in the Air Force. I was in mortuary affairs in COIC. Got hurt in Iraq, sent back home, medically retired. Since that point, I've run the credentialing program for the Air Force in Alabama. Came up here to help run the credentialing program for the Army. I have integrity. That's what I built my life upon. That's what I build my children on. That's what I build my community on. I'm accountable, not only to the board, but to you as members, because at the end of the day, if selected, you put me there. So I represent you as the members. I'm driven. I know that there's a lot of things that can be done for this community. I feel that we've got some great ideas in the works for this community and some things that can make other individuals want to come and join our communities, not just Sugar Valley, not just Hidden Valley, but our community is one. I'm people-centric. I don't shy away from a conversation. If there's something that you need to talk about, or something that I can assist with on either end, I am open, I am available. I'll be more than happy to give you my phone number. Just don't call me in the middle of the night, or I'll think you're the funeral home calling me to go pick up the body. That's another story in itself. I'm family focused. Again, I have 3 boys, 2 are 20, 1 is 16. My wife and I have been together for 22 years, going on 23 years. We met each other in basic training, and I still kind of like her. But again, I'd like the opportunity to represent this community. And when I say this community, I mean both sides, Sugar and Hidden Valleys. I would like to represent you on the board. I would like to help bring some ideas to the board that we can help establish a greater community and have more people from the outside look in and say, hey, this is where I want to put my place to come and rest and go fish. This is where I want to come and ride my ATV around and wave to my neighbors. Because that's the kind of place we all hope to have here. This is what we hope to establish, and that's what each and every one of us deserve. So again, my name is Russell Gray. I appreciate the time for the board, and I yield my time back. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'll pass. My name is Mark Rector. We moved here to Sugar Valley in 2019. Lived here. I see a lot of faces that I wave at every day. We live off Buzzard Lane there, and my wife and I are usually the ones out waving at everybody. Everybody comes by and it's our neighbors now, they turn around. Wait, who's that? Let's wait. But, yeah, there's, from being here that, the few years that I have, I don't have the time that you guys have, but talking to other members, and it's everybody. I don't know the Hidden Valley side. In fact, I've been driving around for 30 minutes out on some gravel road over here, and it says I'm 1 mile away, so I have to get over here more. But I appreciate what the board's done through the years. From what I've seen, different board members, it's a tough job out there, and I don't think there's a magic person that's going to come in and change anything. But I think that working with different people, Darren is my neighbor, I know him well, we work well together. And I think that's something that I can bring, especially with the changes that are coming, so. Appreciate your vote if you want.
Thank you. Moving on to old business, Sugar Valley Outlet Pipe.
Sugar Valley Outlet Pipe. We're waiting on state approval. I've talked with the engineer, and he's gotten information from the mayor who is going to do it. He's got it sent off to the state, so we're waiting on state approval. The work is temporary planned to start in either late February or early March, probably mainly because of temperatures. But the divers are on board with whenever. They said, we're gonna let Mayor take the ball and let us know when they're ready for us. And so it's on schedule. We're just waiting on a state approval.
Okay, any questions? 23 budget, the audit committee went through this and redid it, made some notations out there for us, why things went up, why things went down. Y'all had a chance to look it over. You got any questions that you want to bring up at this time, or any changes that you see need to be made?
I want to mention also, besides the audit committee, Karen was involved. We had her over when we had our meeting, audit committee meeting recently, and we also had a budget meeting right after that. So the budget committee, the audit committee, and Karen and I went over it and had a chance to discuss line by line the budget, and that's where it's at.
Any other questions presented at last month's meeting. I'm gonna slide that down, and we'll do that at the same time that we give Darren time. Kind of go hand in hand back and forth. Executive session.
I think we need to take about a 15-minute longer executive session
For personnel.
personnel issues.
Yep.
No.
15 minutes, personnel, board, and attorney only.
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion. Need a
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're out for 15 minutes or less.
It's fine.
Call the meeting back to order. We got any new business? No? Committee reports.
Earl's got one.
Earl, Lake Committee.
Lakes Committee. Okay, Lakes Committee. One of the things we want to do again this year is restocking. Steve, do you have anybody over there that mentioned anything? You guys haven't been stocked in years,
Yeah, not a soul.
not at all. So, but what we're gonna need to find out, maybe if you're interested. Last meeting I asked, but during the chaos, it just never really got answered. When we stopped 3 years ago, the board supplied us with $500, and then we took donations. I want to know if that's still possible, that we can get $500.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
So I'm gonna put out a memo here for donations, and I've got a kind of a thing here from Dunn's Fish Farm of what we did 3 years ago today. If we do the same thing, it would cost us
That's not exactly the same.
It's not exactly.
So it's ballpark, what do you got?
Yeah.
If we put in 800 6 to 8 inch channel cat, 1,000 black crappie, 200 pounds of catfish by the pound, with our discounts and everything, it's $2,600.02. So I'm gonna ask for donations in several years. I'm sure we can come up with something close to that. But what I also need to know is if you guys wanna do some stocking over there, what you think, if we're gonna bring Dunn's Fish Farm back up here, they can just do both lakes and whatever ponds there. So I need something I need to know. There is a couple over there someplace, I don't know who they are, that mentioned here about 3 or 4 board meetings ago that they wanted to be on the Lakes Committee. But I don't know who they are.
And I've had an email, but I can't find it.
Well, maybe next week, hopefully they'll be at the annual
That's
meeting.
what I'm
Next,
The annual.
Yeah.
what, I do need to tell everybody, the annual meeting is a week from Saturday at the Lynn County Fairgrounds. Remind you of that.
Time?
Oh,
9 o'clock.
not,
9 or 9:30?
9.
9 o'clock? Okay.
I'll make it
I'll be
10.
down there.
anyway, I hope they will sign up. We will have all the committee sign-up sheets down there, so if you want on a committee, be sure and sign up, and the board will take it from there.
Maybe we can do something and get some restocking down in
Yes.
those places. That's our project this year, if we've done all the others. So other than that, I really don't have anything. I just need to.
Where are we at on the chemicals?
We're not gonna know that until probably April. We're gonna have to see if it's growing, who's growing what, that's why we need to get a Lakes Committee over there to see what's happening in your pond. Have this gentleman come out and reassess this, because I don't know what he gave us last year, but it knocked the book.
Yeah, because I think, we got 7 Acre Lake or something over there that's,
7 acres got some
Seven.
bids.
Arrowhead.
So we'll have to get him when it be actively.
Yeah, Arrowhead.
One time.
See what happens. So that's
Yeah.
not all I know. I know he'll come out, you met him.
Yeah.
Nice gentleman.
I'll just send him an email or call him. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
And we'll set that up too, to get a reassessment of what we need. You guys figure out what you need over there too, if we get a Lakes Committee over there. Okay?
Sugar Valley Rec Committee. They are, I will speak on their behalf. They are currently, I think, allowed 500 from the association. They are asking if that can be moved up to 700, just because of cost of living and everything that has increased in prices. It's pretty hard to go a year on $500.
What did we raise assessments, 8%? 8%, $540.
Problem is when have we changed, how long have we been giving them 500?
Well, it's just like the lake deal, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
always been
like
the
for
same.
20 years.
And so I guess my suggestion is we're giving Hidden Valley, or we,
Hidden Valley have always done their own fundraisers and very seldom have asked for money. This year, basically, they they've done some money because we've had new equipment, and they've done fundraisers to buy the new equipment, and I told them, you've got $500 over there. I said, turn the bills in. And so they've always been real good to do their own fundraisers.
But you've told them 500.
Yes.
And Hidden, or Sugar Valley has always been 500. So I guess what I am saying is if we're giving Sugar Valley 700, then we should give the opportunity for Hidden Valley to get the same 700.
Correct.
You want to make a motion, or what do you want?
I will make a motion to increase the rec committee spending to 700
Per lake.
per lake.
Do we have the funds to do that, okay? We good with that?
It's in the budget.
Yeah.
If it's in the budget, I approve. I second
You
it.
got a second? Any other? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Audit committee? Audit committee.
Audit committee, we met on January.
Quiet, please.
We met on January 18th. The committee reviewed the documents and records of Sugar Valley and Hidden Valley Association listed below for the months of September through December of 2022. Bank statements for the operating account from Farmers and Merchants Bank for the above months, transaction detail for the above months, profit and loss statements for September through December, balance sheet for the above 12 months, profit and loss for the above months, and vendor balance detail as of January 1st, 2023. All checks and deposits, miscellaneous items were reconciled between the bank statements and the transaction detail. All voids were matched to the void file. All outstanding invoices were matched to the vendor balance detail. One discrepancy was found on the vendor balance detail. That was a bill that had been recorded twice. This has since been removed. There were no other changes made. This is from Janet St. Clair Hayes, the chairperson. By the way, she is resigning from that position. Effective, well, she's resigned already. The other person on the committee with me has resigned. So that leaves me as the board representative. Karen has already talked to somebody I recommended, and she is accepted as a member, and she's given me the name of a person who is interested in being the chairperson that has accounting and CPA background. So I've got to talk to that person and see if they're willing to be on the committee and be the chairperson. They had some questions they wanted to ask before they accepted, and so I'm going to be doing that. Our next meeting, I might remind you, would be in May for the January, February, March, and April, 4 months of the year, and so hope to have all this in place. Three people would be okay. It'd be better if we had 4. We'll see if we have anybody sign up at the annual meeting, but that's the situation. And I wanted to mention also in relation to this, something was mentioned earlier about committees. We're pretty light on committees, people signing up for committees. We have a lot of people have something to say about Sugar Valley, but when it comes to putting their name down and being on a committee and doing something about it, it's light. So if you'd like to, please look at those committee assignments at the annual meeting and put your name down on there so that we can have some people participate on the committees. That's it.
Any other committee reports? No?
I've already had a committee before, but I want to say something on what Mr. Iverson said here. And I'm going to tell you guys this because I am a former board member also. Your committees is the best thing that you can do for your association. Because these people cannot do it all. They need your committees. You will be surprised if you get your committees working, doing things, how it will change your association. And that's really about all I have to say. I'm telling you, it really works. I know it.
Okay, Darren, you said you had some things from the county for us.
Yeah.
Go through that real quick, and then we'll go over some of your questions, and then we'll go to open forum.
Darren Wilson, I'm the Planning and Zoning Director for Wayne County. I just want to say this, people that live here in the Hidden Valley, I encourage you to reach out to your county commissioners and beg for zoning regulations and subdivision regulations. I can't stress that enough because just the difference, and I'm from Bourbon County originally, the difference between Bourbon County and Lynn County is night and day with regulations and stuff like that. So I just encourage you to do that. And again, I'm here representing Lynn County and Bourbon County, and never fails. Couple of questions. Are businesses allowed, and it's not just Sugar Valley, Hidden Valley, all these lake communities are going to be asked this question. Are businesses allowed in the HOA?
Well, I've been around here for over 20 years. Originally, I was told no, you could not have a business within the HOA.
Okay.
That questions came up more than once over the past 2 years that I've been on the board, and I've asked management, asked office personnel, asked past board members, and somewhere along the line, nobody can tell me where or how, but it is not in the rules anymore. So we do not have a regulation preventing the business within the HOA, as long as it does not compete with the HOA.
Okay.
Okay?
And that's the consensus. I'm just asking because the county needs to know this answer. For conditional use permits, stuff like that.
But if it, you know, I mean, they need to, of course, have a tax number and all that good stuff for the business, but as long as, the key here is, as long as it doesn't compete with the HOA, whether it be snack bar or
Right.
whatever, you know, they can't put in a swimming pool or, you know, compete with the
What?
swimming pool. No, no. So that's where we're at on that.
Okay.
So is that yes or no?
That's a yes.
It's a yes.
And that's BS too.
Signage, is that something else that was in there?
Signage is.
I mean,
Signage is a whole different deal.
And I don't mean to stir up a bunch. I just wanted an answer because there's situations, not just Sugar Valley, Tanglewood Lake, people come in and apply for conditional use permits.
What are the other associations telling you?
Tanglewood doesn't allow them. There's one business allowed in Tanglewood, and that's the business that pumps their sanitation, that does all their sanitation. Now, I can clarify from a county standpoint, we don't care about businesses inside your home. Like if you're an accountant and you run a tax office out of your home. What we look at is land use. Is the land being used for a business that, like a junkyard, anything like that? To be able to do that in the county, you have to have a conditional use permit because everybody around, the neighbors, get say so in that. So that's why I'm asking. Okay.
So I'd make a recommendation that we table this till next month and let's look this over a little bit further. Because I'm not sure we want to do that.
Want to do what?
We need to read over the bylaws and stuff a little bit further, maybe. Because I didn't think we could do it.
It's been removed at some point. It's been removed at some point.
I don't remember seeing it. I just looked at it again last night, and I don't remember seeing anything about it.
6 years ago, I saw it, it's not there.
One at a time.
Okay. What else you got?
So are
So you're going to vote on that?
No, we're not gonna vote on it.
There's a conditional
that's the
use
way it
permit
stands
that's
as
come
of
up in
today.
Sugar Valley, and the county needs to know how to proceed with it based on, because if we issue it, and you guys say no, then that's between you and the person. They've spent all this time and money to get the conditional use permit. To where if the answer is a no, the county can stop the process right now. So that's why the questions arise.
Like I said, one time, it was an absolute no. I mean, you couldn't have anything. At this point, can't find it in there. I mean.
Where's the
it
original
was-
bylaws?
It was.
It's not in the original.
It's not in the originals, it's gone.
I couldn't find you.
And I couldn't find a rule or regulation that has to do with it either, so I mean.
So my
So
question.
I don't know if management from the past was just telling us that.
So if I move forward with this conditional use permit and it gets granted, it's not my decision, it's the planning and zoning board's decision whether, well, it's really not their decision. They make a recommendation to the commissioners and the commissioners say yes or no. They usually go with the planning and zoning commission's recommendation. But if we move forward with this and then you guys say no, then that opens a whole other can of worms.
So you've got one right now?
I've got one in,
Yes.
I've got an application right now. I will tell you that the applicant reached out today and cannot do the date that the public hearing was set for, so it's going to be moved back a month, so we won't hear it until March.
We will do some more research, but the research that I've done in the past and I've had the office do in the past, at this point, there's not a rule against it.
Okay.
Not a rule for it, but there's not a rule against it.
Just to bring the board up to date, building permits for the county are going up. There's a whole new dynamics of the building permits. It's going to be based on square footage. It's also based on what type of structure it is. That has been adopted. There's been a resolution on that. And I can send out the prices. I'll email you guys tomorrow it's a new permit and everything. It's also being discussed that a lot of people don't understand and they get confused. They come to the HOAs to get their building permits. They don't get the county permit. We catch them without the county permit. I can't stress enough that they are to have a county permit before the HOA issues one. If they do not, we're looking at fining not only, and we've accepted, we're putting a fine in place for no building permits also. Not only will the homeowner be fined, the HOA will be fined for issuing a permit without the county. And that's not in stone yet, that's being discussed.
Well, I think on that note, it should just be general practice. If they put a building permit in the HOA before the architect committee gets it, we should verify that the county permit's been filed.
Well, it ought to be copied with it.
Well, yeah, or included with the application.
Yeah, I suggest you don't even issue one until you see a county permit in hand.
Which is what we've been doing.
That's
Going
what
back
we're
and
doing.
forth.
Yep,
Is the same with sanitation and holding tank permits?
yes. Sanitation permits went up a little bit. Same code. We are gonna adopt, here in the next few months, we're gonna adopt some type of building inspection. So that's coming in the next few months. We haven't decided how to structure that or what codes or what we're gonna do for final inspections.
So would that be for like within the association too, you'd be doing inspections? Okay.
Yep. That's pretty much all I got from the county standpoint.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir?
Dave, 3 years ago when I bought my place, moving my house in out there, I was given a copy of the bylaws, and I'm 100% sure that it was stated in there that there were no businesses allowed in Sugar Valley. I don't know what you guys say it disappeared or something, but
I
three years ago it was in there when I got a copy.
Could you bring a copy of that to the office?
Well, if I can find it.
Okay.
You know, I didn't.
I looked at them last night and went through everything again, and I couldn't see anything.
Well, it's been removed in the last 3 years, is what I'm saying.
It wasn't done by the board, I know that.
It wasn't done by management, I
Okay.
guarantee you that.
Well, not this management.
Right.
I was a board member that.
Okay, we're gonna go over some of these questions and hopefully give you some answers.
Give everybody some answers.
First question, who owns Sugar Valley, the members of the association? Sugar Valley and Hidden Valley are single entities or association, okay? Owned and operated by its members. Those members elect board members which oversee the daily operation of the business by hiring individuals such as management, whatnot, to handle the daily operations of the association. 2, architectural committee. Why can't we know who's on the architectural committee? And if, when denied, their letter sent and why it was denied by the committee. The committee membership's not a secret. In fact, all committees from here on will be posted on the bulletin board with emails.
Can it be posted on the website?
Sure. Sure. They are unpaid volunteers that are approved by the board, and they serve at the direction of the board. Current members reside in 4 different locations, including Sugar Valley, Hidden Valley, both associations. Most of the communication between members, the committee members, is done by email or phone, of course. They don't come to Clubhouse and meet and look over each one. The permits are sent out. If a permit is denied or approved, that's communicated by the management. And if it is denied, the management tells them why it was denied and what can be done to get it in compliance. Generally, it doesn't even get past first base. Management will email that application to Tim O'Neill, who's head of the architectural committee. And if he sees a problem right off the bat, like a building's too close to an easement or something, he'll say, well, this isn't going to get approved because it's on the easement or whatever. Well, then they will call them or text them or email them and say, hey, we need to move this building over, get it out of the easement. Is that a problem? And if so, Tracy even commented when we was going over these that she just changed one last week and talked to the lady over the phone, said, hey, your building needs to be moved off the easement. Is that a problem? No, that's not a problem. She redid the application and sent it on and it got approved.
So can somebody from that committee or management meet somebody at the property and go over that? Instead of going through phone calls, emails? I understand.
One at a time. If they need to come out and meet with them, they can.
Okay.
Whatever it takes,
Okay.
to help work with people.
Okay.
Obviously in the summertime when everything's busy and going like crazy, they're not going to have time to go out and meet with every one of them if it's something that can be dealt with over the phone. If it's something you need to go look at and, make recommendations on, yeah.
We get clarification.
Not everything's in black and white, as you know. You draw it out on a piece of paper and it doesn't always turn out the way you planned sometimes.
I think that's going to be the purpose of that new committee. Well, there is going to be a new committee for that, too.
Okay.
Did number 2, 3. Yep, I'm losing my place. Nuisance violations.
Falls back kind of what we just said.
Yeah, that's goes right back where we was at, and also like Lauren alluded to, we're going to be forming a committee Architectural member, committee member, board member, member at large, management probably be involved in it. As far as nuisance violations, so that they can help people go through that.
So I will say this, and I don't mean to speak from a county standpoint and a member standpoint. I know as a nuisance code officer for Lane County, and I suggest this, because with the new zoning regulations for the lake communities, the county's gonna have more jurisdiction in these HOAs on nuisances. Because right now, we just don't have the regulations, because if you've got a junked up lot and it doesn't meet our regulations, we say you're on your own, sorry. But with the new ones we're writing, will come in to give us the ability to come in and take care of a lot of nuisances for the HOA, so you guys, the HOA doesn't have to deal with it. What I recommend is because I always go meet with somebody I write a nuisance to, unless they just absolutely refuse to meet with me, and then once I know that they're not gonna meet with me, I know where that's headed. We're going straight to court.
You go meet with them, or they come in the office and meet with you?
No, I go to the property and meet with them and tell them the expectations of the county, give them guidelines of what needs cleaned up. We agree to it. I come out again and meet with them, and if it hasn't met that, because some people's version of clean is not another person's version of clean, and that makes it hard. I get that. But if everybody would meet there, and my recommendation is that when I come out and meet with somebody, a person from management comes out also, and we agree upon what needs to be done. That way there's no, well, I think it's clean, not good enough, not good enough.
That's why he's saying that we have a member of the architectural committee and a board member as well.
Right, but to
And
be on
management.
site.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep. Would you be interested in heading up that committee?
yes.
Good with that, guys?
Yeah. That's not gonna be a conflict?
I don't have a vote.
Huh?
I won't have a vote, and I
Okay.
won't there'll be other people to write the violation, and it also
Okay,
puts.
I
me
just
in-
wanted to make sure.
And it also
That's
puts
been
me in
brought.
a position that if there is a violation, more than likely with these new regulations, the county's gonna take care of it anyway. But that way, at least Sugar Valley's aware of what's gonna be done.
Well, my thought on that is we got communication between the two.
Right.
Same guy's doing it. We could also put out a sheet for sign up on that committee as well.
We don't have to vote on that, do we? Can
We vote on all committees, we approve all committees.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
board approves all committees.
so do we have to put out a sign-up sheet for that? At the annual meeting?
But the board approves who's on it, who's not.
Now, is this a separate meeting? Is this a separate committee outside of,
The rule change committee?
yes?
Yes.
I don't want on this committee, I want on the rule change committee.
You don't want to do that, you want to on this. Just kidding.
Can I be on both?
Oh, yeah, you can do all you want.
Okay. Because I was gonna ask if I could head up the Rules and Regulation Committee. And I didn't know that you were putting this other committee together.
Yep, we'd mentioned it 2 meetings ago. That we-
So there'll be a
guess-
sign-up sheet at the annual meeting for these positions.
Do we
or
just combine
committees.
those two into enforcement and rules and regulations?
Do I know?
I think they go hand in hand.
I mean, they will have to work hand in hand.
So why don't you just combine the two and say it's all one committee and they can handle both?
I'm fine with that.
Yep, that's fine.
It would simplify things.
Simplify.
Yeah, then we only got one committee to find members for versus two.
We can do that.
So do we have to do anything as far as, I don't think we have to change this because we already have the rules and regulations, so.
Dave, hang on.
So I'll just say that, and maybe.
Quiet, please.
Maybe I'm not 100% clear on both, but the Rules and Regulation Committee is to look at all the rules and regulations that we have, deconflict, to make new suggestions, you know, clean everything up to present to the board. So that's one thing. But then the nuisance board, or what, you know, the committee, that's to look at and to write citations.
Well, the citation's already written, it's to look at the citation and.
Okay, so we're having, so the board has somebody that will do the
At this
citation,
point, we
and
do
then
not
that
have
goes
a
to
codes
the.
enforcement officer. but
Okay.
We will have, later in the year, somebody will come forward to do that.
Okay. No, I just wanted to clarify, you know, just to, now that
Yeah,
makes
because
sense.
they both go hand in hand, because part of the rules is gonna be nuisance.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Plus with the new county rules come into play, at least for Sugar Valley. Of course, you gotta work Hidden Valley with Lynn County,
Again.
Bourbon County.
I urge you to call your commissioners.
His name is Nelson Bly.
So do we need anything on that, Dave, to add that? I mean, we'll just put it as with the rules and regulations and, because that's already approved.
We can sign up.
That's already approved,
So there will be a sign-up sheet at the annual meeting.
That's next Saturday, right, 9:00?
Yes.
A week from this
Week from
Saturday.
Like I
this Saturday.
said, I'd really like to see a member from architectural committee,
Me?
the board member, you, and then maybe one or two more, and then go from there and see how it goes.
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna be a new deal, it's gonna be step-by-step deal, you know.
Oh,
It's-
absolutely.
It's not gonna happen overnight.
No.
4,
Well, we just talked about it.
well, we've been talking about that.
The only thing in the rules and regulations that I do have a question on is the campers. The $50 fee.
Well, 2 years ago, when I came on board, the big brouhaha was about winter campers. Rules and codes, whatever, state, building lots, you have to take the campers off end of October, bring them back in March, whatever. And everybody wanted to store their camper on their lot, or if they haven't built a house on their lot, they want to be able to leave their camper year round, whether they use it or not. So instead of, you can't change the bylaws without an act of God and everything else, so the board got together, put their heads together, okay, we'll have a winter camping permit. Just like we have a summer camping permit, but it's free. But the winter camping permit is so that you can keep your camper on a building lot year round. That's the only reason that that's in place, is so that it side shifts the codes.
So, couldn't that be handled under nuisance? If it sat there too long and just got ran down?
So are we
No,
talking,
No, because if it's sitting there, if there's not a permit for it, if we take that permit completely away,
And everybody,
come into October, if your camper's sitting on your building lot, you're in violation. Whether it's ran down or not, you're in violation.
and everybody gets one of those letters?
60-some went out? How many went out, Tracy?
Yeah. Well,
He said 69 last time.
60-some went out. We've had 80-some purchased. I don't have those numbers.
What
Right
about
on.
boats and jet skis?
So-
Sit around too.
That's not the codes.
So the reason why I asked this question, I'm getting ready to throw myself under the bus. I have not ever received a letter in the whole time I've lived there for the camper that sits on my property. And I'm not being
You know, I mean-
facetious or smart,
Well,
but I will have my attorney involved in that, because that's, at that point, it's private property, and I live there year round, and I can't keep my stuff on my property?
Now that's, so the $50 for the if you you have a residence, and what you're saying is you have a residence, you have a camper parked in your driveway, you don't feel like you should pay the $50.
Right.
The problem is when we had these discussions through 2 or 3 board meetings, the majority of the members that were out there insisted that you shouldn't receive a benefit because you have a house over somebody that has a bare lot and they still have to pay the $50. So if they have a bare lot, they have a camper, they have to pay $50, as should a homeowner who has a camper parked on his lot. That was the members, the voice of the members that we took that advice from. And now that's a rule, so we can change those rules. We can go back through and look at that camping regulation and make tweaks and those kind of things.
Well,
But it takes people to come forward to say that there's issues with that in a board meeting setting in a manner that's appropriate.
Right.
That's the difference. I mean, if you have a problem, come to the board and say, I don't feel like I own a house, I shouldn't pay for my camper to be parked.
And that is, well, it is kind of what I'm doing, but it isn't, because there's so much discrepancy with this $50 fine, and everything that I've heard, it's a $50 fee for security. Well, we don't have security.
There's nothing for security.
There's nothing ever said about $50 for security.
Nothing.
Has it been a $50 fee to keep your lot for security?
No, the $50 fee was there for the administration cost that cost our office personnel, the cost for the stickers, all of those things to verify that your camper meets our guidelines of a temporary structure on your lot. That's what we're looking for. There's nothing about security or anything like that. To help offset
bylaws don't say anything about boats, jet skis, any of that. You can store those things, but it specifically says that campers have to be removed. And I mean, I didn't write the bylaws. We just tried to find a way to snaggle tooth around them.
No, I understand. And if there's,
It's not in the covenants though, really.
and if there's a way to.
It is in the covenant, Sandy.
If there's a way that we can fix the problem, or not a problem, whichever way you want to look at it, with the rules and regulations, then we'll move forward. And like I said in my first sentence on this, I just want a clarification on some of this stuff, because I think that's where a lot of the hostility comes, because there's not clarification on stuff.
That was put in place. We discussed this both at Hidden Valley, both at Sugar Valley. That $50 fee was put in place to cover the administrative costs as far as going out and verifying that those campers had permits, that they were, of sightly fashion, that they were taking, doing the things that were in that permit. That's the reason for the $50 permit. Now, if you own a house and you're unhappy with, having to pay $50, bring it up to rules and regulations. I mean, that's the reason why that committee was formed, is, to deal with those kind of things outside of the board of directors.
I think a lot of the rest of this stuff is going to be addressed with rules and regulations. I mean, at the end, we get into the financials and stuff that I ask.
Well, and that's for one of the reasons why we changed the financial report.
I appreciate that.
There was one thing, you brought up about gates. And you and I talked a little bit earlier. We truly think it's worth looking into. I mean, as a consensus of the board. It's worth looking into. The problem is, it's going to take a lot of work to figure out where the gates are going to go. Some entrances, the way that they're set up, like over Sugar Valley, you have 2 entrances coming off of Highway 7. The south entrance, you split and go 2 separate directions. Well, coming off of a state highway, you have to allow room for the vehicle and a trailer to pull completely off the road before you can have a gate. So that means you're going to have at least 2 gates there. The east entrance on Payne Road, coming in off of it, as soon as you come in, you go right or left. Again, you're going to have 2 gates there. Hidden Valley, if you're going to gate it, not that big a deal. You got 2, As a contractor, and I've been through Tanglewood's gate several times, and Lynn Valley's as well. Only thing I can say is make them plenty wide. Because especially if somebody's gonna bring in a new home or something, man, they can wreak havoc on those gates.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I've seen trucks pull in and, you know, gates malfunction and, you know, do thousands of dollars, not only to the product, but to the gate itself. Well,
Yeah, and there'll be, and I've talked to Tanglewood a lot about this, there'll be a learning curve at the gates. But, because they have people ram them and everything else, but once that's criminal destruction of property. That's
Well, I mean, it's not
different type
just,
of-
you know, we gotta look at the total picture, you know, the total cost of construction, of
Sure.
building the roads and whatnot, plus the security cameras, so that you can catch those guys that ram the gates
Right.
and try to sneak past or whatever.
Um,
But, you know, we think it's worth looking into.
I will get the name of the company that Tanglewood used and get it to Tracy and Steve so they can present that to you. I already got a rough estimate cost per gate. Now, that doesn't include the camera that sets on the swipe card. The gates are about 15,000 a piece. And then the system that operates everything is about, she said about 6,000 a piece, and they communicate with each other wirelessly. But like I said, I agree, it's worth looking into. I think it would solve a lot of issues out there.
But do we have the money for this?
No,
We do a
it'd
special
be a
assessment.
special assessment, just, you know, kinda like the lake deal's probably gonna end up being either that or you're gonna go into debt again.
I have a quick question.
Which we're out of debt.
Using gates. I'm all for it, you know, to keep people from coming in all the time. But then what about those that were discussed earlier about having businesses out here? How are you gonna allow those people in? They're customers to come in if people can have a business out here.
I mean,
Well, hopefully they're also going to give them to the business.
Yeah, when you pull up, like if you go to Tanglewood and pull up to the gate, the person that you're going to see will give you an access code and you punch it into the keypad and the gate's open.
Then is that tracked back to a specific person?
Everything's tracked on a computer that sets in clubhouses. And they can, Tanglewood, pardon me?
Is it a one-time use code, or is it something that they're going to be able to use forever?
It's a one-time use code. Every time somebody comes in that's not a member, it's,
I didn't know, that's,
Right.
because you're gonna have a lot of traffic and people are allowed to have businesses out here. So then, how are they gonna get in and out?
they'll just have to get a code from the business owner.
So if someone has a business, they can have 100 people in or out a day with the code?
Not with one code, you'll have to give each individual person a code. And remember, they're on camera coming in and going out.
And the business owner should be responsible, right? And if a business owner gives a code, then the business owner becomes responsible for that person, just like they would be a guest.
That's right.
Okay, that's
How does
good.
that number track back to the business owner?
What, you know,
That code that's given.
That code that's given goes through the system and it's put on your lot number.
Okay.
Okay, but if everybody doesn't have access to that, the board system, or the club, whatever, association system, how are we supposed to get those codes? Like, let's say somebody opens a tackle shop, you know, bait and tackle, and you got people coming in or whatnot, and how are they supposed to get a single code for every single person coming to that gate if we don't have access to their system? And
That's-
how safe is that if we have access to that?
That's the cost of doing business. That'll have to be worked out.
No, I'm just,
And I don't have all the answers to it. I've just
Joe,
seen a short demonstration of it.
We'll have to look into the gates. And I mean, there's a lot of details to.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, but we think it's worth looking into.
Yeah.
You know, good, bad, or indifferent.
Another advantage of the gate, I don't know about everybody, I can't speak for everybody's insurance, but my insurance company told me that if we were gated, my insurance would go down on my home.
Really?
Because it's a secured unit.
But it'd be harder for fire to get here because we don't have fire protection.
I'm just telling you what my insurance.
I mean, security, I can understand. Okay.
Here's part of the problem with gates and without gates. Those are private roads in that HOA, and he should be able to back me on what I said. If somebody cuts through from Payne Road to 7 Highway, and they have a wreck on that private road, there's nothing against them for whatever reason, because people get sue happy, can come after Sugar Valley because it's a private road. Or if they have a wreck and somebody, hopefully never happens, but gets injured, that's a private road that they should have never been on.
It's basically the problem currently that we have with both counties, I believe with both counties, where sheriff's department and others won't come out to enforce things because they don't have the authority. So it kind of just supports, yes.
Right. Berkeley County has the authority to be in here. There are written signed letters from the previous manager.
Well, okay, but again, without those agreements, then, you know, so, yes, basically what he's saying is true.
So, your turn.
Thank you.
I'll shut up.
Are you want to go on?
Well, I think.
Or you want to?
You answered the financial questions with the new deal. I think a lot of it's going to be covered with the rules and regulations.
Sure.
I appreciate your time of hearing me out and answering a lot of these and already making changes.
Well, it's all about. It's work in progress.
That's all.
Thank you.
So Darren, are you going to be back at the next meeting for more clarification?
I'm not ever coming back.
I mean, just so we can get some updates on some of the things that you asked about the camper fees and
Yes.
different things. Are we going to get clarification next time, hopefully from the board? Like we
Yeah,
did this time?
I think they'll answer the question next time because you
And then
agreed
about
on the business deal and the camper. Well, the camper deal.
That's gonna be a process.
They agreed it's gonna be a gonna be a work in progress, rewriting new rules and regulations. And trust me, I'm doing it for the county right now and that book's this thick. And it's a process. So just, with that being said, just be patient and know that they're being worked on.
Joe, I want to chime in on all this because I'm gonna throw a little bit of work on the Rules and Regulations Committee, but I kind of want to be tangentially involved as well, or I'll be available, I guess. I'm part of the organization.
Trust me, I've got the county attorney on speed.
Yeah. But with all of this, I've been through, and I'll just say with the covenants and restrictions, because we're talking about the rules and regulations which the board has been put in place. I want to slowly have the rules and regulations board morph, I'll use that term morph, into starting providing suggestions and working on new covenants and restrictions. Because I've talked with the board and Steve and everybody over the past year. I've been here almost a year now. The covenants and restrictions were put in place in 1973. They're still in place in 1973. Since 1973. There have been a couple of amendments that have changed some things in the late 70s, and 83, I think, is the last one. A lot of things with the state law has changed over the year. The most recent is 2011. The bylaws and everything, which is the more important thing, with regard to the board are compliant with the state law. And that's the important thing. And if something doesn't necessarily comply with the state law, that's what I'm here to help make sure it does, because state law controls over everything. That's how it goes. We missed our window, and I sort of look at it as I missed the window, but I didn't get hired in time. But that's not anybody's fault. That's just the original developer put, and I'm going to use this legal term, stupid rule in place that a lot of HOAs have that has slowly been changed over the years, that changes, full changes to the covenants and restrictions have to be voted on and put in place 3 years prior to when they end. It doesn't make sense. I hate that rule, but that was it's some archaic rule that got put in place, and they did it for control. So we missed that window because the 10-year mark or 7-year mark, I can't remember which one it is up next year, 2024. So we missed it. I missed coming on board by a year to say, hey, let's get everything new and get it voted on. So what we can do in the meantime is start making recommendations. That committee makes the recommendations to the board, like all committees do, and those can change. Those recommendations can be compiled and put together. So when the time comes, when the time comes when we can vote on it and change all of the covenants and restrictions, we will have that ready. So that won't be for about another 7 years, because the problem is, in order to completely change some things, we have to have 100% yes votes to make it change. That'll never happen in any organization. And I live in an HOA that's only 180 homes. We were struggling to get 60% of the votes to change ours. So that's just the way it is. But we can work towards, and if there is some way to change the rules and regulations and possibly the covenants and restrictions through a vote, that's why I want to work with the committee as I can and the board where we can do this. So I just want to throw that out there. That's kind of the state of the covenants and restrictions. We're stuck with what we got for the base, but whatever we can do to try and amend those, we can, and put it to a vote of the organization, to the members. But this committee will be key, because committees and getting involved, again, I'll advocate for committees to everybody because they do work, because the board can only meet during a meeting. And that's why there was an executive session held for an hour. That's the only time, otherwise they have to call a meeting in order to get business done. You can only do so much. So committees are good because they can meet and talk and do whenever. So committees are good, but this rules and regulations tacked on to the nuisance, but eventually I know issues with the covenants and the base covenants and restrictions are going to be found, and that's okay, and recommendations, or at least annotations so changes can be made in the future, that'll be good. So.
And I appreciate you wanting to be involved in that, because from a county standpoint, changing our zoning regulations, and I'm only saying this for everybody's benefit, so they understand, to change the county regulations, we don't have to have a vote. We only have to have a vote. But our attorney, our county attorney, and plus the people that we've hired to rewrite these, he's an attorney in the state of Kansas, and that's all he does. It's good to have an attorney involved in that, because the Planning and Zoning Commission will set and throw out recommendations, well, we want to do this. And it's like, okay, we can do that, but by law, and not everybody knows the law, what you can and can't do. So So I appreciate you wanting to be involved.
Yeah, and being a lake committee, there's a little bit of differences on things than normal HOAs too. If you have a lake and over 500 lots, there's a few little tweaks, but it's a so my point is, changing things is a process. It takes time, but everybody's input is valuable, because my HOA, it took them a year basically to get everything new changed on the covenants, restrictions, bylaws, everything, in order to get it to a vote. And we were within the time zone. It came down to the wire, but it takes a village, to use that term, because otherwise things don't get done.
And real quick, with this committee, what I'd like to see is hold public meetings where everybody comes and gives their input, so this committee can take that input, sit down, and try to make everybody happy. We're not gonna make everybody happy, but to make it to where everybody's heard and everybody's got a say, and then the committee can take those recommendations from the public, put it on paper, and present it to the board for their approval. So I just want to throw that out there. It's not something that this committee's just going to do and leave everybody out. That's not the point of it. So there will be future meetings once this process starts that everybody will be invited to, and we'll let Tracy and Steve know so they can get it posted on the website well in advance. So I just wanted to clarify that. Sorry, I'll shut up. I know everybody wants to go.
And I felt that was the appropriate time for me to interject.
Open forum, as usual, stand up, state your name, which lake you're from. You must be in good standing if you owe the lake association for dues, tank pumps, fines, whatever. You're not in good standing. You have 2 minutes. Most people can state their case in 2 minutes.
I'm going
Please be
first.
respectful of others.
Jolita Park, Sugar Valley, and I forgot to tell you guys, I think I was in shock, so that's why I didn't know what to say or do. I'm not happy with this business. If we didn't, I've been here since '86, you were never allowed business, now it's disappeared. This past year, we got onto the Airbnb people, we shut them down. That was because of the 1-year lease thing. I don't think it was the business side of it. But I don't like this conditional use permit, because that is by me, and I don't want 30 freaking dogs, and I don't believe it is dog shit and piss should be going down into the lakes. I don't like that. Now, if y'all come back and y'all say that you're gonna allow businesses, let y'all know. My husband and I are selling everything out that we own in Kansas City. We are gonna come down here, and on my lakefront lot, we are gonna put in a 3-room service. Open from daylight to sunset, and then from sunset to daylight, we're gonna have a titty bar. And it's gonna be called the Titty Circus Club. You don't have to have a membership. We're not gonna have a liquor license, because you're gonna bring your own beer, liquor, and we're gonna provide pop. I've already hired Steve, and I've hired another person too that's well known around the community. I am totally against this business bullshit. So wherever where do I need, what meeting do I need to attend next so I can say that I'm over it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Shirley Nut, Sugar Valley Lake, again, same thing. Have we heard anything about the graveyard for the boats and the campers?
No, I'm sorry. I have been very busy. I've got it on my desk at home. I'm going to give Wes a call. There's been some family issues and some other issues.
I'm just gonna ask every time.
I appreciate it.
Also, on the other hand, how about my lake?
You just heard from Earl a little bit ago on
Okay,
that.
well, he says that they can't do anything till it's growing. I think you guys need to do some investigating, because we did, and they said you should start in March with it.
That's when it starts growing.
Well, nobody was in my place and nothing happened to it. I had that crap. So if you guys can't fix it this year, this will be 3 years that I've had lake property and I can't use my lake. So I don't want another summer where I can't.
Come up to my lake, we're gonna have dog shit piss running in it.
I don't want that either. I make my dog poop.
Which one is it?
7 acres.
7 acres.
Yes.
The
It was
east
crap.
leg.
It was crap. We had a friend
The
that
east
caught on
leg.
the board in those crap.
Southeast leg of 7
No,
acres.
7 acres, okay.
That's the one we treated,
Mhm.
and we didn't get good results.
Not far enough down that point.
It is.
One at a time, please.
And, okay, last one, the big black thing sitting by the road on our property, on the Sugar Lake property, the semi-trailer, whose is it and why is it parked there? Does he own that lot? Is it stolen? It's been there like 3 months.
I've talked to Steve about that. I heard that a Spanish person brought it in and lives down the street from Joe, the security guy. I don't know if anything's happened on that yet, but I went there the other day and looked in close because I thought I saw some mattresses in the back.
Okay.
And there wasn't. It was tires and old junk. And on the side of it, there's a door that says, and I showed somebody in the office this, if you open this door, we will kill you. There's a little plaque right there.
Why
that
is
says-
that still on our property? It has no tags, no nothing, and it's sitting there.
I agree.
I mean, if you're gonna lay and park it there, park it with the dead stuff. The boats, the campers, and we put all the crap in one spot. That looks horrible.
Is it, I don't know what you're talking about, is it?
South entrance, semi-trailer.
It's this black semi-trailer.
Nation's old tractor pulling
Just a
trailer.
trailer. Just 3 months. Where's
You got the big ramp out the back?
No.
Nation's old tractor's gonna be good.
Right there. You pull in on the
Last time.
right on the
And the doors are wide open.
Okay,
So,
Next.
that's it, I'm done.
thank you.
It'll be next time.
Earl Camp, Hidden Valley Lakes. I don't know if y'all heard, but our county commissioners are telling us they're gonna tear the rest of the Yale Road up. I would like to ask the board and Steve to go to a county commissioners meeting and tell them no. Yale Road, what's left of it, they're gonna tear it up, they're gonna plow it up, and they're gonna.
Yale Road, they're gonna grind up like they've done the rest of it?
Yes. We want them to fix it. That is a voter paid for road. You guys voted for this 12 years ago.
Quarter-cent sales tax on it.
They want to turn it into gravel?
They want to turn it into gravel again. We spent time and years getting this thing asphalt. Now they want to tear it
Is
up.
our commissioner backing us on that, or is he pushing to get
We
it?
have a new commissioner now. What's his name?
Nelson White,
Nelson White.
he sort of is, he's not meant to be very
But
good.
he needs some help. We need people, I'm gonna take a day off, I'm going to a county commissioner meeting, and so are many of these farmers around here. We're gonna go out and tell them, no, we need,
Let me know when that meeting is.
I'll do my
Yeah,
best.
I wanna know too.
Yeah, me too.
It's every other Monday, I think.
Every other Monday, but it hasn't come up
Either
on
every
the
other Monday or
agenda.
every other Tuesday, and it's at 9 o'clock in the morning.
They're gonna plow this thing up, turn it back to gravel, and we've already paid for it once.
Right.
Yeah, it was a quarter-cent sales tax.
So you say this Nelson Blythe isn't for it?
He is, he's not
He
for
is.
tearing the road up, he wants to put
He
it
wants it to
back.
be fixed.
He wants it
Right.
to be repaired. But he's one out of 3.
Well, I should have.
The head of the commission right now is Harris, and he's an old road foreman. You probably understand what them old road foremen are like. Yeah.
Grouchy.
Yeah. I'm just asking if there's anything that the association can do to put any pressure on them to get our road repaired, at least up to our place. I mean, I think the whole thing. needs to
Okay.
happen, so
Thank you.
That's what I got.
You wanna go, Steve, tear the pump truck up?
Sandy.
And I'm in compliance. Sugar Valley Lake. Okay, piggybacking on what Darren said. I asked, when I was denied a permit for my fence, which I should have been able to get, I asked for a letter from Tracy from the architecture committee with the signatures of all the architecture committee saying they denied my permit, and I never got it. And then I called Rob Syke, who's on the architecture committee, to ask him,
did he hear about it? Did he deny my permit? He said he never even heard about it. He never even knew. He read something, but he was never asked whether to give me a permit or not.
Rod Sykes sold his lots on the lake and has nothing on the lakes anymore.
Well, he said he's on the architecture committee.
No, he isn't.
Not anymore.
Well then, okay, well then,
He hadn't been around for a long time.
okay, well then
It's probably been a year.
I was confused then. I mean, he might have been, I don't know what was going on, but anyway, no matter what, it would be nice if, at least if you're denied a permit or whatever, that you get a letter with the signatures of the architecture.
Give us time to build it.
Okay.
We're building the committee.
We're gonna do, but you're gonna have, but that's not gonna be the architecture committee, that's
Yes.
a different committee?
It'll be,
You're gonna bind the two together?
Our architectural committee is still gonna be one committee. This is the rules and nuisance committee. As far as the architectural committee, if anything's denied, if the architectural committee doesn't talk to you, the management will,
There
okay?
should be something in writing saying why, that you were denied and that they all agreed to it. Because-
Understood.
Because the reason why I say that is, it was the weirdest thing. They were denying me because I was too close to the road and that I was in front of a building instead of behind a building. That was two of the things that were false. My property doesn't even have another building on it. So who then looked at the property and denied the permit? It was almost like, did somebody really go out there and look at my property? And it was more than 25 feet from the road, so that wasn't true either. So my point is, it just seemed like all of a sudden, this it was denied and it didn't make any sense. And I also think that we should not have businesses because you're opening up a can of worms when you're gonna have all kinds of businesses coming into residential area. Other associations don't have that. I really think we should not have businesses in our association.
Thank you. Next.
Shelley Collins, Sugar Valley. Don't really have questions this time, maybe just slightly.
Compliments?
So, several times over the last couple of years, I've spent hours working on the play equipment up at Sugar Valley. Steve and I chit-chatted recently over that. I would like to do a fundraiser to have the equipment replaced. We've had several kids that have been injured on that equipment. I know Steven mentioned there might have been a fundraiser plan for that. I wasn't sure the answer to that yet. If not, I would like to, anyone that wants to be involved, head up a fundraiser. I'll donate lots of money out of my pocket. Try to get that play equipment replaced, maybe even the volleyball courts up to better rapport so that everyone can go up there and play, kids can be safe, no more injuries. I wasn't sure if you had any luck on that, Steve. If not, can I?
That's what I'd mentioned to earlier, with the Corey and Cody, that redneck golf tournament. Every year they make that, and they pretty well say where the money's going, but they usually try and give us what areas. This last tournament's money was supposed to go towards, and they get to say, but I told them we need landscaping around the pool. They've got Josh Baldwin involved. Josh Baldwin's supposed to meet with me and them. They can't ever get together. So now Josh is gonna go ahead and bring all his plans to me of what he was gonna give to them, and I'm to get a hold of them and say, which of these are you guys wanting to put your money towards? Here's how much they are, we can do them all. I won't know till I see Josh's figures. Because the playground equipment was one of the things that they wanted to, and they wanted to dig out the volleyball pit and put big rock in the very bottom so it will drain correctly with sand over the top of it, get it back in shape. So there was a lot of things there mixed up. Some new shrubbery around the clubhouse, just different things. I won't know till Josh gives me his list of what they've got.
How much money did they make on their fundraiser?
What's
How
that?
much money did they make on their fundraiser?
We don't really know.
We don't really ever know. It's, that one year it was near $10,000, I believe.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that, they bought a lot of the kitchen equipment and that kind of stuff. I totally believe it's somewhere between 7 and 10,000 again.
Wow.
Everybody knows,
Yeah.
I think that ought to be advertised out there on your site or something.
Oh,
They
it's-
got this much money and.
They turn people away. It's a golf tournament.
No, I know, but I'm saying, the what money that they got and what they're putting back in, that would be great to put on the site so everybody can see that.
Mhm.
I think that'd be great, instead of, you don't know, but put it out there after you've had tournaments, so
Okay.
people see it.
Shelley, my comment to that would be, I mean, we do have a beautification committee, nobody's on it, or they're not officially on it.
Right.
That would probably be something that that committee could head up, that create fundraisers, do those kind of things for those kind of projects.
Things. That makes sense.
And maybe clean up the basketball court too.
The only other thing I had is, I know loose dogs are a major problem at Sugar Valley Lake. I wish I could control that or have something to do with it, but I don't. However, I have spoken with Virginia's Rescue.
Don't, let it go, let it go, let it go,
Everybody stay back. Meeting's adjourned. So, y'all want to go ahead and see?